Yeah, I went to the wrong feed, Chris. I'm sorry. I'm a dum dum. For some reason, my software that I use to stream with, and by the way, good morning. Welcome to the Coffee Run. It's John from ProCraps on Casino Gaming TV. Um, my software that I use has a list of like the upcoming episodes, and for some reason, today's episode and the one for tomorrow were backwards, and I just clicked the one that was the top of the list, and I got the wrong one. Anyway, super sorry about that, and that's why we're late. And it happens. It happens. Anyway, good morning. I know we missed the show yesterday. I had the, this is why I go on and on and on about all the feels about our community, right? We had a little discussion about that in Craps Chat about the community, and some people, will poo-poo that a little bit, right? Yeah, community is bullshit and blah blah blah. I think it's important to note our community, and I'll talk about that more here in a little bit. But personal note, and I say that because I'm always giving you guys personal notes. So you guys know more about my life than I do, I think. We had the dogs yesterday. My one dog, Rose, my elder one, my lab, at the vet yesterday. She was there Friday, also yesterday, getting results back and everything else. She's got a freaking torn ACL, poor thing. So she's 9 years old, got a torn ACL. The younger dog, Gino's got a torn ACL. Both dogs, Gino was born with a degenerative ligaments. We knew that was coming in. She's 9 and just getting old, and that's what happened. So that happened yesterday. So it's a bummer, but hey, here we are. Fight through it, man. We fight through it. Let's move ahead. Let's get into the show today, and I got a couple things I want to talk to you about today. And I think it's going to be a Craps Chat. I say Craps Chat Counterpoint is the show today, and what I'm going to get into with you on the Counterpoint show is this: I don't really take part in that show. I just do the controls. That's all I do is run the controls. I think I said about 2 sentences during the whole thing just because I had to weigh in on one thing. But I really don't have anything to do with it. The content is up to Chris and the team and Dylan and the team. They decide the topics. They decide who's going to talk. They decide everything. I'm just making sure we don't lose the connection, right? But of course, I have thoughts, right? When we go through these things, I always have thoughts on what's being talked about. So I'm going to give you some of my thoughts on a couple of the things that were talked about regarding like the come out roll, the don't pass, table energy, that kind of thing. And I highlighted up here on my notes that it's the flat Earth and the value of 1 + 1, right? And I think a lot of these things become these dichotomal sort of forces, right? And we end up being here a lot on some things, which I think is good. And I also put a post out on that episode's comment stream last night about the comments. The comments became the thing. And sometimes, and I don't know which order I want to talk about stuff in, but sometimes things go a little sideways, right? And it happens. And I think it's good and bad, right? So I wrote a note in here: civility 101, facts 101, opinions 101, feelings 101. All these things are true at the same time. Multiple things can be true at the same time, where we have to be cognizant of being civil, cognizant of what are facts, what are opinions, and when our feelings get hurt, right? And those are all things that are real, right? And they materialize in the comments a lot. And what happens, I think, is it's really easy to get butthurt in a comment, right? You can't always convey context in a comment. Sometimes you can infer it, sometimes you can't. Sometimes it's taken wrong, whatever, right? And this has happened to us twice now. This is the second time in 3 years, which is not that bad. Actually, I'm lying. Second time really in the last 3 years that's kind of been a thing I want to talk about. We've had a couple of people that I've banned from the channels because their comments got so insanely personal that they were attacking other people that I decided that we're going to have enough of that. So I didn't let them stick around. We had this a while back. We had a Fireside Craps episode with Myopia Movie, who's JB. You know him in the comments as Myopia Movie. You know him on that show as JB, where he said some things. And again, whatever. It's opinion born of fact. Like, he is a professor of economics and math. The guy knows his stuff, and he speaks a lot from the truth of the law of big numbers and the truth of probabilities. So a lot of people don't like hearing that stuff, right? When people think they can twist some of that, in the trending or whatever these hot button topics are, and they get taken personally. you get a war of words in chat, right? And I think in chat, the war of words in that particular situation got really ugly. And matter of fact, it got ugly again one time when he and somebody else, Gargoyle, got into it after Gargoyle's episode, where he kind of bared his soul about his struggles with gambling addiction and that kind of thing. And so a lot of times you get this kind of this broil, right, in chat. What the result of that whole episode was a couple of things. One is JB kind of stopped engaging for a while. We took his videos down. He asked for that. And a lot of good content there. And he just like, you know what? I don't want to be a part of this anymore. He's like, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. Like, people don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear the facts. If it conflicts with their worldview, they don't want to hear it. I say it's like the flat earthers, right? The flat earthers are just, the earth is flat and there's no arguing with those people, right? And they're wrong. It's not flat, but they will argue with you until the teeth. And I say to him things like, hey, dude, like, who cares? If somebody thinks the earth is flat, they aren't hurting you. Like, what's the big deal? And he's like, but they don't get to live in a reality that's based on falsehood. Like, the whole thing is false. They right. And I think there's a pull from some folks. Like, you got to just, please don't live in that alternate universe. Live in the reality, right? And I think some people are going to fight it anyway, right? So you're never going to convince a flat earther or 9/11 truther or now the assassination truthers. You're never going to convince anybody that their worldview is wrong. I've just that's the way it's going to be, regardless of whether you hold the facts in your hands or not. And I think that whole situation turned into this mess, and it got personal, right? And the result of that again was no more JB for a while. Again, his choosing, which made me sad because he's a great guy. I talk to him on the phone all the time. He's a great guy, one of my favorite people in the world. And I think a lot of people are my favorite people in the world when I talk to them on the phone. In the chats, not so much my favorite people, right? And I think that happened yesterday too. We had a situation where Gargoyle and him got into it, and a couple of people kind of clapped back on the show, but some people also hammered back on the show in kind of an ugly way. And it got ugly, right? And the result of that is going to potentially be the loss of more content, right? Where people are saying, you know what, I don't need this in my life, right? So I say this, Civility 101, regardless of whether you think you have the factual foundation to make a strong statement or base a really strong opinion on facts, the way that you present those things is important. And I think it can be taken not so much wrongly, but the delivery method can cause a problem where you shut people down. And that happened yesterday in the chats. And it's unfortunate that happened. And so, yeah, a lot of mess happened in there. I'm gonna have to clean the chats up a little bit, and consider what to do with comments in the future on these shows, right? I think what it boils down to is what I said in the comments yesterday, which I think you all should hear this, right? Craps Chat to me, the new Craps Chat, and frankly, any program. I see that Alfredo's here too, right? It doesn't matter if you're Alfredo giving Jeff a bunch of shit. It doesn't matter if you're Jeff giving Alfredo a bunch of shit. It doesn't matter if you're JB giving Gargoyle a bunch of shit, or Holy Roller giving everybody. It doesn't matter, right? What matters is where it's coming from, right? If it's coming from a good place but delivered poorly, that's one thing. If it's coming from a bad place and delivered poorly, that's a whole different thing. And I want to make sure that that we're all based in some form of reality, right? What the reality is again, maybe it's the way you see it, I suppose, right? But there are things that are just factually provable. And what I said there in the chat was, if a show like Alfredo's or like Jeff's or like the Craps Chat, if it drives you right into, I don't want to say a frenzy, but if it drives you somewhere, you come up and go, man, that just got me angry, or yeah, got me here, clapping back, right? Like that, if it touched you in some way, that's the point of entertainment. That's the point of these shows. There's a bit of it that's education. There's a bit of it that's steak, in other words. There's a bit of it that's that sizzle, right? And I think that we endeavor as creators, all of us, right, to put education out there, to let you have our opinions on things based on experience. Sometimes experience is not based in reality or fact. It's just our experience, right? There's a difference there. I hope that it drives you to think and say, that was completely wrong what I just heard. That's BS. And because I just heard some BS, I'm going to reinforce my current way of thinking. Cool. That's awesome, right? You might say to yourself, that sounded like BS. I'm going to go get some more information. You might say, that sounded like BS, but wow, I think I was wrong. I thought that was BS. Now I think now I'm right. If we can drive you to think in different ways and maybe cement your opinion, maybe change your opinion, maybe whatever, right? That's the point of these shows. And you've got to take everything you hear and see from all of us, not just the Craps Chat, but all these shows that we do. Take it all right here. Take it all right here and process it your own way. Okay? Process it your own way. Duracell has the right thing. Everybody's an expert in their opinion. Now remember, people form really strong opinions based on their experience with reality. And that's the truth, right? The reality of, in craps, the law of large numbers is what it is. You cannot change some of these things. You cannot change the fact that dice are in fact random unless you're a perfect shooter. You can't change that. Now, what you do with that information, right, it drives you. You can say to yourself, screw it. The dice are random. I'm going to just treat them all like random. You could say, the dice are probably random, but I'm going to practice to make them not be random, right? That's the thing, right? I think it's what do you take from that nugget? The nugget is back walls bullshit on the dice, right? You can take that and go, well, I give up. I'm just going to bet like random. Or you can say, nope, I'm going to go and practice. That's up to you. How you see that and where you go with that is up to you. It's not for somebody else to judge what you do with it. You have to make your own calls, right? And I think ultimately the community that we have here is very strong. And I think the strength of the community comes from the coming together. Now, I mentioned this before. My dogs are having knee problems. We just bought the new house. You know, my job situation. What's happened? We have the Crash for the Cure, obviously. What's happened? Everybody, I'm getting emails, texts, praying for you, John. Hope it all goes well for you, John. Can I help you out, John? Those are things, right, that we get here because we are friends and we're a community. We built some strong bonds. I don't agree with everybody. I have fought with most of you, right? My besties out there, I fought with you on things, right? We've given each other a bunch of crap sometimes, right? Doesn't matter. Ultimately, like family, that's where we're going to be. We got to look at it like that. I think that's where it is. I don't want to have this uninformed opinions and misguided animosity make for unpleasantness. And that's so very true, right? And here, tune in, tune out. You have a choice. You're right. To some degree, I think you should always tune in. You should tune in and process. Tune in and process what you hear. You don't have to believe 100% of what you hear, right? My dad, we had this talk before, right? Separate the fly shit from the pepper. There's pepper in every conversation. There's fly shit in every conversation. You got to figure out which part of that you're going to pick from and form your own thing, right? You look at politics, Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, whatever. There's truth in all of it, right? One side is not 100% right. There's facts, and both sides have formed pathways based on how they interpret the facts and where they want to use the facts to accomplish a goal. We're the same way. So I say this, be civil out there, disagree all you want, debate all you want, just keep it cool. Okay? If you've got facts that back you up, present the facts factually. Don't present the facts like you're an asshole, here's the facts. That's the way you do that, right? Form your opinions, live your opinions. And, if you're going to have feelings, that's great. I think if we can drive you to have feelings, mission accomplished. I want to drive you to have feelings about stuff. That's really important to me. If that show didn't drive you to have feelings, it would have been a failure, right? The fact that it did drive feelings, I think it's very, very cool. That's really good. Clay Hall, good thoughts there, right? And of course, we get the agreement there from Alfredo too. Very true. If you love craps, not sure why you would not believe in it. You don't believe in dice influence because the back wall is an equalizer. That's the reason why. You can influence things to a point. I think that there's enough evidence out there to go against it. Now, again, you can take that and say, I'm going to find a way. I love it. I love the fact that you and George and me to some degree, I'm like, fuck it, man, I'm finding a way. I'm going to practice to find a way to overcome that, right? You can use the inherent randomness in the table in the back wall to be a reason to throw in the towel and to say, screw it, I'm just going to bet the same way every time and rely on the law of big numbers. You can use that as the impetus to practice more and try something and give you focus. Also cool. I don't really care, right? I have no opinion on what you decide to do with that. I don't judge you either way, right? I can only tell you what I'm doing with it. I'm trying to find a way, right? As futile as my throws are, I'm trying to find a way, because that I find enjoyment in that, and my enjoyment in that doesn't really impact anybody unless I'm trying to charge you for it, right? That's the only time I guess it impacts you. Anyway, there's my thoughts on that part. Now, let's go to the real things though. The real flat Earth and the value of 1 + 1. And by the way, I saw a video where they said 1 + 1 actually equals 0. It's kind of funny. These math guys prove that out. Anyway, here's some of the issues that came up. Do you work the come out? Right? And I think Slam had said this at one point. Do you work the come out? And I will say to you this. The math says don't. When I run trials and I say run 64 across forever, always working, and 64 across with the puck. Okay. What do you think happens? Put it in chat. What do you think happens? I just start typing right now. I'll hold off the answer to that for a second, but I want you to know from chat, when you work the come out 64 across forever, same bet, and you just let the 64 work the puck, same bet, who wins? Who wins in that situation? You put it in chat. Let me know what you think the answer is. I'll tell you in a minute. Now, the thing of it is this, my personal feeling on it is twofold. And I'm gonna contradict myself here. Number one, the dice don't know it's a come out. Very, very true. The dice do not know that it's a come out roll. We know that. It doesn't matter. It's still the same 1 out of 6 chance you're going to see the 7 there. The difference on the come out is that unlike during the point sequence, a person can roll 5 in a row. They can roll 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. It happens. We've all seen it happen and had the nightmare. If you're going to go 64 across, 64 across, 64 across, 64 across, get beat 5 times in a sequence like that, right? Yeah, law of big numbers says, okay, over the course of time, that evens itself out. In that moment, your bankroll goes to 0, right? So great. The averages over time doesn't really matter. In the moment, though, you're going to experience catastrophe to your bankroll. That's the reason not to work the come out if you're going to just put your money out there over and over and over again. There's a reason for that. That's the reason not to work the come out. That said, the point that I made in that show, and I think it's a good point, is this. The casino does nothing in your favor, right? When this is off and your bets are off, why do you think they turn your bets off automatically? Do you think that they do that to help you? Do we think that your bets are off with the puck because it helps the player? The answer to that question is no. It helps the casino because they know, just like you do, that 80 whatever percent of the time, 83% of the time, bets that are on will win, right? 1 out of 6 times they will lose, right? Whatever it is, 2 out of whatever 36 they're going to tie, and 80% of the time they're going to win, right? They know when the puck is on and your bets are on, most of the time they have to pay you. That's why they go, you know what? We're going to help you out and turn your bets off. No, it helps them, right? Reason why come bets with odds being the best house edge in the planet, they're free odds, right? They're completely no house edge. Why are they off by default on the come out? Do you think the casino's trying to help you out? No. They want one less time. They got to pay the great bet. That's the reason why. So this right here, that is helping them, not you. Yeah, if you're a shooter and you're trying something, you get to breathe a little bit. I know a lot of controlled shooters will take the off position as their chance to, all right, let me recenter. Let me try a different landing zone. Let me try a different set. And if you're into that whole thing and you believe in all that stuff, don't work the come out. Let the guy get his deal, right? Let him center himself, and when the puck's on, he's back plugged in, and then so can you be. I get that. That's a whole thing where you can be like, yeah, I'm into that metaphysical part of it, right? Got you. I got you. And again, objective reality says this, right? It doesn't matter. If you work the come out 100 times, right, you're going to lose 16 of those or 17 of those. You're going to win on about 80 of them. That's the reality of the law of big numbers. However, your bankroll may not survive the first 10 rolls because you might catch that bad run. That's the reason. That's it. Okay. That makes, I think, to me, I can make the argument for both sides of that. Work it or don't work it. I can make both arguments. If you're going to work it and you get whacked by a 7, stop working it. Let the point come out, save your bankroll, and get into it again. That's really, really important. Duracell said the improbable sequence of 5 7s, right? It's likely anywhere, I think. The thing is, usually in your experience with a good controlled shooter, not trying to throw a 7, less likely. However, a lot of controlled shooters are, again, I know they're monkeying with the sets and trying different stuff. So I can see shying away. I can totally see backing off and going, yeah, let it do it. Frankly, to me, the off button is kind of a chance to go, all right, let me get my drink. Let me go talk to my buddy. Let me check on my wife real quick. Let me go see if the drink late is. It's a chance to not pay attention. You can use this as a mental break, and that's totally fine. It doesn't affect the bets. But if you need to just kind of just go and disconnect for a second, I'm down for that, right? Again, there's no math behind that. It's just what you do. All right. So there you go. That's my thoughts on the don't pass. Jen says no. The casino didn't invent the game. It's the rules of engagement from the game create. I hear you there, right? Again, the probabilities of this versus that, my fingers are in the way there. They don't change. It's just it's that bad sequence. It's that bad sequence. And we all saw Alfredo throw 7 in a row at Craps for the Cure 2 years ago. That was probably the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. All right. We had the big thing that came out of that talk was the don't pass discussion. And I think a couple of good questions arose from that. One is this. Is the person playing the don't rooting against the shooter? And this falls into the energy conversation. And I will tell you this. My personal thoughts on that are yes and no. Okay? And what I mean by that is this. In order for my bet to win on the don't pass, you got a 7 out. So yeah, I'm rooting for the 7. I'd like to see a 7 so I can get paid. I don't put a bet out there that I don't want to win, right? And I've said this before. I don't care if y'all are winning. Like when I'm on the don't pass and the shooter has a 7 or 8, 10 roller and he makes his point and everybody makes money, I'm happy for the table. I really am. I'm like, okay, I burned a quarter or whatever it was. Sucks for me, but I'm glad y'all made money. That's fine. I'm not rooting against you. I'm making that bet that I think is going to win. Does that make sense? Like I'm making a bet that I think is going to win. And that's really what it comes down to. My bet on the don't pass is my bet against the casino, right? When I make that bet, I'm fighting double barrel, 22% chance of getting my ass kicked on the come out. The 7 and 11 kills me on the come. I'm fighting hard on that one, right? Just to get the thing through. So am I rooting, right? That's a bad deal for me, right? Once I'm out there, I'm still playing against the house. Yeah, you set the point of 5, and if you roll it, you beat me. Big deal. You don't beat me. If you roll a 5, the house beats me. I'm still playing against the house. I'm just playing that I got 7 or 6 ways to win and 4 ways to lose. That's the only difference there, right? It's no different. You can bet the don't pass all day and bet the 6 all day for the same amount of money. It's same bet. It's the same freaking bet. Little tiny house edge difference, but it's the same bet. It doesn't make a difference. I'm betting on one number, the 7. You're betting on one number, the 6. It doesn't matter, right? You're just betting on what you think is going to win. I don't look at it like that thing. Now, I know that some people, and Gargo is one of them, view that as a negative energy kind of thing, right? Like if you're on the don't, you're against me. I'm not against you. However, and here's where I'll make his point, I hope for him, right? If he is on the do side and he has the dice, and you know good and damn well that he doesn't like the don't, right? And he sees your bet on the don't, it's going to mess with his head. Now, you can think it's bullshit that messing with a guy's head is going to make him throw worse. You can think that all you want to. I don't care. What I care about is the guy is in his head now, right? And if it's going to mess him up, and he might make a bad decision with a bet or something, right? It could be anything that happens, right? If you're effing with that guy's brain because of what you're betting on, or because you're celebrating when it is, or you're actually rooting against them, that's a thing, right? There's an energy piece to the table that doesn't really impact the result of the dice, right? I will tell you emphatically, it doesn't. Energy does not impact the result. I know some people really believe that. I don't. But it impacts the person. And why would you negatively impact another person? Right? That's the point that was being made. And I think that was what Gargoyle was trying to say. I don't want you on the table if you're going to bet the don't, especially when I'm shooting. He doesn't want you there because it messes with him. He doesn't like the negative energy. He doesn't like to be around negativism. And in his mind, wanting a 7 is a negative thing. He doesn't want that around him. It's not like he thinks it's going to make a 7, right? He thinks it's just here. and it makes them pissed. You got to be okay with that, right? I mean, again, know your people. If you're doing something that pisses somebody off and you know it's going to piss them off, you do it anyway, that's on you, right? I think that's what it comes down to, right? It's okay to quietly bet the don't and do your thing and whatever. But I think that's what that whole discussion came, and I think it got misconstrued in a huge way. That's how I read that anyway. And I wanted to make that point. I'm not a believer in energy. Although I will say this. I don't believe energy causes sevens. I do believe energy causes me to hate my life, and I don't want to be there. So if it's a negatively energized table, don't like what's happening, don't like how it's being said, don't like how people are acting, tap out. I tap out because it ain't no fun, right? If I'm going there to win my paycheck, I'm there by myself, or I'm there with my group who I know is not going to piss me off, right? We're just out there having fun doing our thing. That's great. When it gets negative, it's not because I'm losing that I walk away. I just don't want to. Why would I put time into something I'm not enjoying? You follow me? Like, that's the thing. So the energy conversation to me has no basis in reality in terms of results. It does have a firm basis in reality for my heart. And I want to make sure I'm having enjoying my time out there, right? That's the thing. So there are so many comments out here. I have no way to go through all these comments. And I'm glad, like I said at the beginning, if I've stirred you to make a comment, then I've done my damn job, right? So let's try and go through a couple of these things. I'm going to just look for PCs first and just see if there's anything that I can even. Jen is the only one following the rules here. Jen puts PCs on there, which is great. Yeah, and Jen says, who cares if it doesn't change someone's basic human decency if they believe the Earth is flat or no such thing as evolution, whatever. And there is no such thing as evolution. I'll fight you on that one. But you're right about that. It doesn't matter to you if this person thinks that, unless they're foisting it upon you, unless they're forcing you down this road with them, and it's going to impact your life. That's when you start having the worm turns, right? The DI thing doesn't affect anybody other than it takes somebody a few extra seconds to get the dice set. That's it. Unless that person's charging you for access to them, it doesn't impact you, and you still have the ability to say, no, I don't want that, right? I'm not going to pay $100 to go to a flat earth convention. I'm not going to do it. They aren't forcing me to. I can choose out of it. So I think you're right about that. Let's see. And Dan says, if you're a controlled shooter and you get upset because someone bet a don't, you're not a controlled shooter. I think it's mindset. I think that it's all about focus. And you look at like pitchers in baseball or golfers, and look at golfers. Here's a good example for you. Golfers, right? Would you call a golfer a controlled shooter? Like, remember Tiger Woods when he was in his prime, best putter on the planet, right? If somebody farted 150 yards away, he could hear it and he would pull back off the putter because he's so focused and so in the mood, right? It can get in your head, and that's a money shot for him, right? And he would totally recoil from that. I remember a time when we were here in Seattle. I'll tell the story a lot. When we were here in Seattle last year's Pacific Northwest meetup, we had, Alfredo was here and Corey was here and Jen and D-Jen. And, we had Jeremy was here. We had a great time. I was throwing pretty good. And I looked up I was getting my dice set, and I looked up to find my landing zone. And I see that Corey blasts 640 across. I thought I heard it. I looked up and I saw all the black chips. And we were all kind of low rolling, having a good time. And I went, oh, shit. Like, that was my thought. Oh, shit. Like, why would he do that to me? Not to me. See how I said it? Why would he do that to me? I internalized that thing completely, right? He was betting on what he thought was going to come, right? For me, I was like, oh, damn it, pressure. And I didn't reset and stop. I went, okay, here I go. I don't give a crap, whatever. Like John Way, I'm like, I'm not going to let it get to me, but it got to me. And I totally threw a 7, right? Did that make me throw a 7? No. Was it in my head? Absolutely was in my head that he had all that money out there, and I felt pressure. And when I threw the 7, I felt like crap after it, right? It is what it is, right? Yeah. What does Old Bay say? I'm okay with your beard hair being stark white. What? Where did that come from? I don't know. You know what's funny, man? I'm I had the hair. My hair's been this color white since I was 35 years old. Like, my hair went white at 35 when I was coaching baseball. Everything, and I'm like, you know what? Shaving it off. That's it. I'm done. I'm triggered by my own hair. So, bowlers are controlled shooters too, and a bowler can get inside their heads too. I think whenever you break anybody's concentration or focus, whether or not you think it's going to affect them or not, it may. It may affect them in the moment. We don't want to do that, right? That's what it comes down to. So let's see here. I'm trying to go through. I can't really see the comments because you didn't put PCs in front of us. I really can't read them all. But anyway, let's see. I see an all rise. Oh, El Toro's here. All rise, El Toro. I didn't. Good morning. Hey, there he is. I didn't see you show up, dude. How you doing, man? Yeah. All right. That's it. That's my rant for today. I wanted to cover a couple of those things. I wanted to cover the come out and the don't pass thing because, again, I really feel like every bet is independent. Every bet you make is an independent bet against the casino, not against the person. Now, granted, on that don't pass again, if the person sevens out, you win and they lose. The result of that dice roll is you winning and them losing, but you're not taking their money, right? If he's got, $100 5 and you have a $100 don't pass and he throws a 7, he loses his 5, you win on the don't, you're not taking money out of his rack. It isn't like you're rooting against him or for him to lose. You're rooting for your bet to win. So happens that the result of that bet winning is other people losing. That's just the nature of the beast. But I think that's an important thing for us to, keep at the forefront. Let's see. Alfredo says awareness of players and what they like to do and how what they like as an engagement is important to adjust. Some like silence, some like high five. I like a live table. I like it when it's live. I like to high five and get into it. Some people really hate that. And I think that's a sign of respect and civility. I believe that. Let's see. Obey says, no more videos from me. Somebody told you I have a face for radio. Bye-bye. I have a face for radio too, but I have a voice for all. I think I got an okay voice now. I think I figured out how to tweak the settings so I sound like a grown-up. Although my microphone that's now on the top is not picking me up and there's echo. I'll fix that at some point, I promise. So, all right. I think that's it, guys. I'm going to be, it's 8:40. I'm going to cut off here. I just want to leave you. I got to cover a couple of things tactically here after this little conversation, but leave you with this. Okay. Keep the comments civil. I don't care if you disagree. Matter of fact, I hope you do. I don't care if you want to debate and have a different interpretation of actual fact than I do. If your opinion differs based on fact than I do, if you ignore facts and I do not care. Right? It's how we engage out there. Remember that on the other side of what you typed, there's a live human being. On the other side of the phone call, a live human being. So Gargo said it's great. So much can be solved on the phone, right? I talked to him a couple of times yesterday. Great conversations, right? I've talked to everybody on the phone. Matter of fact, I'll probably be calling JB today at some point, right? I think my ability to connect with people on the people level is important to me, right? And I will tell you this. Everybody who fought in the chat, Gargoyle, Myopia, Holy Roller, a couple of others, I've talked to all of you on the phone separately. You are my favorite people in the world for different reasons. Some of my favorite people in the world for different reasons. I could talk to JB for hours and get lots out of it, and so would he. I could talk to Alfredo for hours, and we get a lot out of that conversation. I can talk to Jeff for hours. I can talk to Gargoyle for hours and get a lot out of it because the connections we have, I'm crossing my fingers, are real connections. It doesn't always translate in chat or on a comment screen or in the moment of the video. But trust me, behind the scenes, there are real humans that really give a shit about each other. You have no idea what's happening behind the scenes with people that I've talked to. The amount of love they've given me in my personal life, you have no idea. Right? Garrison takes a ton of heat, right? One of the best people I know. Right? You may not love what he says. You may not love his philosophies on dice. One of the best people I know. That guy cares so much about our vets. He's all in on what we do. And I owe him a phone call. But there are people on the other end of these things. You got to keep them in mind. Keep them in mind, please. Show respect. That's all I got. All right. Debate is great. Respect is required. It's true. Right. And there's a lot of people I really disagree with. And I mean really disagree with. Right. But there's a way that we go about it. And there's that. All right, here we go. Let's get into other stuff here. Fun stuff. Craps for the Cure. No new updates because Don is on the cruise ship in Spain right now. So when he's back from Spain is our casino meeting. We'll get the casino locked in. That's our next green item. But I am emailing folks and getting schedules done. So we're going to have a schedule of events that are non-casino related. Who am I going to interview? What's the topics? I'm working on that. Next 2-3 weeks, we'll have that done. But you can lock in your dates. And if you want to help out, people already have offered to help out. I'm going to host a Zoom call, probably not this weekend, but next weekend if you'd like to be a part of that. So I'm looking at people like Dan, who's always there, Jen, who's always there, Brian, Holy Roller. I'd love for you to be out there again, right? I'm going to try and get Big AZ to help out again. Jeff is going to be out there, right? Alfredo. Everybody who wants to help out, let's get on a call together and let's figure logistics out. This thing's getting bigger and bigger. It's going to become way out of our control here pretty soon. Last year, I tried to do way too much and I didn't know how to use people to help out. This year, not going to happen. All right. So let's get you all on that. You can drop me a DM or a text message and we can talk through it. That's happening. What else is going on here? Daily paycheck. Won today. So far it's been a weird month, man. We're 8-2. We're up $3,200, but that $5,000 loss that day really freaking hurt. That really hurt. So this is showing you how hard this is. I mean, I hope that you're getting from this. This is a law of big numbers in action every day, right? We have an 80% win rate for the most part, and we're still treading water a lot of times because small win, small win, small win, huge loss. You're even. Small, 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 huge loss. You got to get 5 smalls per loss to make it work. It's pretty tough, but we're doing okay. We have crested. You'll see we're at 41,000 in profit. So we're at $50,000 in bankroll, which is great. Halfway home. We need to have another 5-10 good sessions before I feel like we're going to be on track. We've been hovering at 50,000 for a while. Hopefully the rest of the week is going to be pretty good. Duracell, I am terrible. Yes, Old Bay, I suck at texting, by the way. I have a phone. It's right here. And you can see there's texts coming in from all you guys, right? I suck at returning text. Trust me. I read them. I just get busy and I get sidetracked. And I'm a little bit, it's not OCD. I'm a little bit ADHD, I think, where I'm just kind of here. And like, a day will go by and I forgot somebody wrote me. My wife and I argue about this all the time because I'm a terrible person when it comes to that stuff. Doesn't mean I don't love you, right? Nobody's above you, Duracell. I read every text you send me, Duracell. I read every text. I watch all those videos. I just don't always write back. I'm just terrible. I'm just a terrible human being. If there's the one thing I would pray, and I do, for assistance on, right? I always pray every day. I pray for courage, right? I pray for strength, and I pray for focus, because I have a really hard time focusing. If you're with me at the craps table, I'm kind of all over the place. I don't focus well. That's why I'm not a good DI. I do not focus. And I think returning texts and emails is a focus issue for me. So I pray for that. Strength, courage, focus every single day, right? So I've got 2 out of the 3 so far. So I'm working on it. Love y'all. I do love y'all. And with all that said, guys, let's boogie out of here. I'm gonna go ahead and press forward here. Give my final thoughts. I guess my final thoughts are going to be this. Thanks for hearing the rant today. Thanks for playing along nicely. Thanks for being who you are. Everybody bringing their unique selves every day. Love it all. I also can't do crapsy. I'm doing crapsy. You're saying skip the chips for DPC. You know what, Jen? We can take a vote on that. I'm coming around to like saying screw it, and just going to crapsy with it. I like doing the chips, but it does take time. And I do make mistakes. And I think making the mistakes makes me lovable. I kind of think that this is great, Dr. No. Dr. No says 1-800-LOVE-7 or if that's busy, 1-800-7-WINNER, winner 7. There you go. Great way to end the show, guys. Love y'all. God bless all of you. Treat each other well. And I will see you tomorrow morning for the next paycheck and a new coffee run, where we're going to get back into the fold of doing some 401 stuff. So I'll see you tomorrow morning. Have a great Tuesday. Love y'all. God bless and bye-bye.